The speaker, Tarcila Rivera Zea, is the executive president of the United Nations Foro Internacional de Mujeres Indígenas, FIMI, F-I-M-I Forum, and I apologize for my Spanish pronunciation, as an activist from Ayacucho. She has dedicated more than 30 years to defending and seeking recognition for the indigenous peoples and the cultures of Peru. In 2011, she was recognized by the Ford Foundation as an extraordinary global leader and was appointed the following year to the United Nations Women's Global Civil Society Advisory Group. She was elected as a member of the Permanent Forum for Indigenous Issues for the period of 2017 to 2019. This incredible speaker shares with us the rights of Indigenous women and an outlook on how we are faring in 2024 and into the future, the challenges yet to be overcome, and reclamation of the rights of Indigenous people, particularly Indigenous women. We welcome you. We welcome you and everything, and all of your ancestors. We thank you for your time today. The time is now yours.
Ukui son huiman tari marimusach nyoka harikiruna simiri mahuar mimkani. Taitai kuna pamamay kuna parimainin. Queridas hermanas de la región del Pacífico, de nuestra madre tierra, yo soy una mujer que habla su lengua propia, el runa simi, que significa la lengua. Oh no, I have to speak in English. Excuse me. Excuse me. I am Tarcila Rivera Zea, and I am Quechua speaker from Ayacucho. It's an Andean part of Peru. And I'm very happy to talk with you in my Spanglish, because I don't speak very good English, but I try, because the communication is very important. And I was very happy to listen and to see our sister Milelani Trask, because we met many, many years ago when we were very young, and to make a dream to make many changes. And now, after near 40 years, we can see that we have some advances, but our work is not finished. We need to continue and to articulate from local to global. In this case, I want to share with you some experiences of the process. How we as Indigenous women from over the world try to articulate and work together, because we have the same problems. When Milelani talk about the priorities over the world is the same. And we have the both, no? During these last 40 years, we can talk about the complementarity of the both rights, in the collective rights as peoples and individual rights as women or women, and how we analyze during these years about, for example, how is the impact of the violence in plural in the life of Indigenous peoples and Indigenous girls and women. When we talk about what happened with women, we as Indigenous women begin always looking the reality of the girls, of children, and the family, no? Not only individually, only me, because we are looking for all the family, and that's why we began in collective struggle as peoples, and after we have our proper place as women and try to prioritize what kind of colonial and neo-colonial and colonialist society is, how do you say, is impacting in our life. We globally, we think that the violence in our territory and in our life communities and personal aspects are the most important issue that we have to eradicate over the world, and looking from intergenerational actors too. That's the global priority. The second one is how we can eradicate the racism with expression in the exclusions, no? If our governors or governments or politicians use the ideology as racist person, they exercise the power excluding to indigenous peoples, girls and women from public policy with budget, appropriate budget, and with content of that with to strong our proper dignity. That's why the racism was defined as the worst action against our self-esteem and against our strong identity as specific cultures or specific language speakers. The other thing is how we can change the point of view of the politicians and other societies, that they look at indigenous girls, young people, and women as a object, yes, as a group of persons who needs program assistance. They look us at, they look us at like that we don't have capability to self-government or self-develop the proper capacity, because they don't know how we act in the community. In the community, all of us have that proper role, and we as indigenous women participate and take care to the family in our reproductive role, but including in productive role, both two. That's why we are not happy with the program assistance. We think that it's necessary to have the opportunity to develop our proper ideas, our proper initiatives, but to investing in our in the development of our proper capacity building. That's why we think it's necessary to have the opportunity to access to economic opportunities to develop our proper initiatives. The other thing is how these problems can see, for example, to look us at as all of us as a sector who contribute with solution. For example, related with climate change, how impact the climate change to our peoples, our communities, and what kind of contributions from indigenous knowledge or practice we can share to look for a solution. That's one. But the other thing is that We are first persons impacted for climate change in our territories, in our communities, and we are thinking what kind of knowledge and resources we are losing, no? For example, the natural resources for our health, medicine plants, or products or food from the sea or from the agriculture or from the Amazon. It's very complicated because the climate change is terrible everywhere. But we think it's necessary that we need to have the opportunity to participate in the decision makings. We have something to say. We have something to share. That's the important thing, to be, because we want to be listened and to take account in the decisions and in the implementations or formulation of the projects, no, in our countries. That's until now in many countries are pendant agenda, no? But we need to say that the conferences of global conferences of women was a context that we began in the past to connect each other and to try to articulate, because I know that you in the Pacific born as organization when I born in 50s, no? And but the international conferences began in 1975 in Mexico, where only one indigenous woman was there in 1975. Next year will be 50 years after that first conference. And the first thing was, what is the similarity between the struggle of non-indigenous women and indigenous women? Nothing on that time. After we had the conference in Nairobi in 1985, where we were near 12 indigenous women of the world trying to understand each other because the language. From that, we arrived to 95, to Beijing, more articulated. We were there, 100 indigenous women in Beijing, trying to organize and to listen each other and to build our first chart of indigenous women in the conference. That was very important. After that, we went to Beijing +5. It was organized in New York, and we tried to discuss what is the difference between the feminist movement, feminist struggle, and indigenous women's struggle. We had problems between what is feminism, what is not feminism. They said that we are indigenous women and are very fundamentalists, because and they don't, and they said that we don't reivindicate the gender issues, and we never understand what is that. But after many years, now we can say we struggle against all kind of how do you say, abuse, no? All kind of abuse. And now when we discuss in the arena of climate change, we can be listened about how is our philosophy, our vision as part of Mother Nature, and how we in the 80s are trying to say that we are part of Mother Earth and we need to respect, and we need to protect because all of us have life, no? In this issue, I think we are, as International Indigenous Women's Forum, Sandra is there. We are trying to articulate and to be more strong, because we have specific rights to defend as Indigenous women, and we have specific rights that we have to defend as peoples. That's why we are trying to be more strong, more clear about what is happening in each region, and we are very proud that we are with you. And because FIMI is a global mechanism for Indigenous women from over the world. It's for all of us, and we are very proud with General Recommendation 39 of CIDO that was built in the process, but is the first instrument that we have for all Indigenous girls and women, because for first time in this document is recognized that both rights, collective and individual rights, that we have to be considered in any kind of related with justice or rights in our countries. I think that's okay. Excuse me my Spanglish with from my heart for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Tarcilla. You mentioned 40 years, your journey with Mililani and others. Recognize that the journey isn't always easy, and that sometimes that the gains can feel small, but they're significant. We have some comments in the chat, and I would love it if you do have an opportunity to respond to some of the questions that might come through for you. You know, the questions around honesty, integrity, and then the opposite, the corruption, and what are the instruments that we can, as Indigenous women, you know, take up to address some of those systemic injustice and corruption. So I thank you very much for your contribution today, and we have a kōrero in Te Ao Māori, in our Māori world, of the tōtara haimata. So e te tōtara haimata, tēnei te mihi ki a koe, you, woman of mana, of greatness, likened to the lofty tōtara tree. We thank you, and we wish you all of our love and our appreciation today. E te rangatira, thank you so much.